Hey, sixth grade, we are on week 4, Life Science, Forensics. So forensics is the science of crime solving, so it's pretty fun. I will warn you on the crossword, number 2 across is not in our studies weekly, so I'm going to help you with that one at the end. Honestly, unless something has changed or unless I totally missed it, I don't think that's in the weekly. So yeah, so I'm here for you. The science of solving crimes. The pencil belongs to... The entire class holds their breath waiting for the verdict. Irene. How do you know, Mr. Holmes? It's elementary. The principal, though of a common color and brand, bears teeth marks of someone who wears braces. Nasty habit, Irene. As you can see, Irene wears braces. Furthermore, the point of the pencil is slightly off-center, indicating that it was sharpened by the sharpener in Mrs. Doyle's room. You really must get that fixed, Mrs. Doyle. Yes, but you are a student in Mrs. Doyle's homeroom, are you not, Irene? I am. Finally, the softness of the pencil lead matches that on several of Irene's writing samples. Brilliant, Mr. Holmes. Mr. Holmes used forensic evidence to settle a dispute about the ownership of a pencil. Real-life police detectives and forensic scientists use evidence to solve serious crimes. What is forensic science and how is it used to help find the innocence or guilt of a crime suspect? Forensics have been used by ancient Romans as a way to settle a criminal charge. The accuser and the accused would present their arguments, and the verdict would favor the one who used the best debate skills and presented the best evidence. Today, criminal cases are decided partly on scientific evidence. Forensic scientists use many different branches of science to answer questions about crime scenes. At a trial, lawyers may ask about the type of weapon used in a crime or the identity of the person who left behind an imprint. The answers to these questions may determine whether an accused person goes to jail or is set free. New techniques and technologies are constantly helping forensic scientists be as accurate and fair as they need to be while doing this important job. Perhaps you've seen one of the crime shows on TV that feature a crime lab or crime scene investigators. Interest in forensics has grown tremendously, partly because of the popularity of these shows. They reflect real-life circumstances and techniques used in forensics, but are the scenes completely realistic and accurate? Not always. Take a look at movie science for more on that topic. Forensic scientists use chemistry, physics, and biology to help solve crimes. In this issue, you can use science to analyze substances like the pros do. So the word analyze means pick it apart and figure it out. I do know of someone that was in their first college class for problem solving and whatever with forensic science. The teacher said, hey, if you watch a lot of CSI and think it's going to be like the TV show, you're going to be sadly mistaken, because it does. Obviously, the crimes don't usually get solved in an hour, right? Even though the show doesn't say they solve it in an hour either. It just seems easier on TV than real life, right? Most things. And so they're like, it takes months and years and sometimes decades to solve a crime. So you have to be patient and yeah. Connections. What are prints for? Look at your fingerprints. Closer, even closer. You've got fingerprints. Everybody does. Now look at the back of your hand. Do you see prints? What about your arm? Are prints everywhere other than your fingers? Are prints anywhere other than your fingers? Other than the palms of your hands and the bottoms of your feet, your body doesn't have prints. What does that tell about the purpose of prints? Are they just for decoration? For as long as anyone can remember, people assumed that the ridges and valleys on your feet and hands were to help you grip things better. No one ever thought to question that theory until 2009. That's when scientists Roland Enos and Peter Warman decided to put the theory to a real scientific test. They found that the prints on your hands actually reduce the friction between your hand and the thing you're grabbing. Friction is a measurement of how hard it is to move something when it's against something else. It turns out our prints reduce friction because about 30% of our hand doesn't even touch whatever we're grabbing. I would have assumed the opposite as well. So what are prints for? Well, it depends. Think of it this way. The tires on the truck have big rugged treads that help give it friction on loose rocky ground, while race car tires are as smooth as possible so all the tire can stick to the track. Scientists think that our prints might help us have more friction when grabbing wet things, or maybe they just help the skin bend around whatever we're grabbing. Why do you think we have prints? Forensics. Imagine you come to school tomorrow morning and your teacher's classroom has been ransacked, like totally messed up and things thrown around. Some of the teachers what? Some of the teachers are papers on the floor. Some of the teachers' papers are on the floor. And there is money in the desk that's missing. There are 2 shoe imprints in the dirt just outside the classroom and something that looks like it might be glue or paint under the window next to the teacher's desk. There are some hairs and a piece of thread that were caught on a nail near the door. It's a crime scene. So what would you do to find out what happened? Let's look. First of all, ask questions. Any good investigator would start with looking at the scene and asking questions related to what happened. In our classroom, some questions we might ask are, what's missing? Who was in the building last night and who had access to the classroom? When did the crime happen? What evidence is there? Why would someone do this? Are there possible motives? These questions will guide the examination of the evidence. So let's take a look at the pieces of evidence that we can discover. Papers and missing money. What do we know about the papers and missing money? Well, we should ask the teacher what type of papers were on the floor and where they were when she left for the day. If the papers were important, they might help us answer the question why someone wanted them. What about the money? Well, it's pretty easy to understand why people want money. So what else could we learn from the money? If it was in a drawer, maybe there are fingerprints from the person who opened the desk. Analyzing any fingerprints could tell us who opened the desk. Shoe imprints. What can you tell from the print of a shoe? Well, quite a lot actually. There's general or class information about the shoe. This refers to the overall class or group, so another word for class would be group, that something can be assigned to. For example, you can get information about the size and general type of the shoe, and even the brand if the tread has a distinctive pattern. But did you know that you can also tell whether a person is walking, jogging, or running from the type of prints you find? Scientists can also estimate someone's height from the shoe print using mathematical calculations. So if you check, your foot actually fits in the space on your arm between your wrist and your elbow. So if you're flexible enough, or if you want to use a ruler to measure and check, that's how big your foot is. So that's kind of cool. So when you use that proportion, check it out, math in there, it would at least give us a very close estimate. Other information is more specific to the individual shoe and patterns of the wearer. For example, individual shoes often have unique characteristics like cuts, defects, or distinct wear patterns in the sole. This type of evidence is especially helpful in placing that particular shoe at the scene of a crime. Substance on the floor. What about the sticky stuff on the floor? Every substance taken from the crime scene is a unique mixture of chemical compounds that can be identified, and that can give us information that's helpful. Apart from obvious characteristics that you can see about a substance, like its color and consistency, a chemical analysis can tell you what it's made of. So blue paint and blue glue might both look the same to you, but their chemical makeup is different. A chemical analysis can also tell if something is animal, vegetable, or mineral. Theater people sometimes make fake blood using red Jell-O mix or corn syrup and dye. So a chemical analysis can tell us if that suspicious red spot on the carpet is just corn syrup or ketchup. Hair and thread sample. Inspecting the hair left behind can help us find what color, hair, and quality that the suspect has. If the sample matches the color and length, that can help rule in or out suspects. What if the hair sample is synthetic, meaning fake? Maybe the suspect was wearing a wig. Under a microscope, synthetic hair will appear clear under the light. However, natural hair under a microscope will have a distinctive core at the center of the strand. If you've ever seen like shampoo commercials and they zoom in on the hair, it's kind of like that. Specialists can also analyze DNA collected from any hair samples left behind. Thread samples left behind at a crime scene can give investigators information about what a suspect was wearing. Investigators may use a microscope to try and match the threads left behind to samples gathered from the clothes of the suspect. They would look at the color of the thread, the material, cotton, wool, denim, nylon, etc., and match the structure of the threads. At first glance, it may not seem like the clues left behind can help solve the mystery of this crime. However, if you look close enough, there's a whole world of information in these clues that will point us in the right direction. Off to the side, we have chromatography. You've probably noticed not all markers and pens are alike. There are different colors. Some are permanent, some are washable. What about 2 watercolor markers of the same color but different manufacturers? From different manufacturers, are they the same? Forensic scientists sometimes analyze substances, revealing a signature that leads investigators to stores where a suspicious substance was purchased. This information can rule out or confirm suspects. Chromatography is a process of separating mixtures into the parts they're made of. In this if you want to do the investigation, go for it. You use chromatography to analyze ink from several markers to identify which one was at the crime scene. Down to technology and science. Forensic art. Forensic artists use their skills to make pictures of victims or suspects who are missing so they can be located. Age progression technology is used to create an image of someone who's been missing a long time. These pictures are helpful in capturing wanted fugitives who have been hiding out for years and in locating missing children whose appearance has changed significantly. The age progression begins with a photograph. Often the image is digitized and altered by a computer program. The artist uses scientific facts about the aging process of the human body to modify the facial features. Information such as lifestyle, genetics, occupation, and hair loss is considered. These artists then create an educated approximation of how the individual might appear. They can add or remove beards and mustaches or show different hairstyles and hair color. The final age progression photograph is then distributed to law enforcement agencies. Unique signatures. Everybody's handwriting is unique. How you sign your name and the way you dot your I's or cross your T's is different from how your friend may do it. Try it and see. Get with a partner, a desk buddy, or a sibling and write down the same word, hippopotamus, on separate sheets of paper. Bonus points if you can spell that without looking. Invisible bonus points. I'm not really going to check. When you've completed writing the word, place one paper on top of the other and so the words overlap. Now hold the paper up to a light. Can you see the places where you wrote the word that's different from the other person's? Maybe your handwriting's bigger, or maybe someone has a curve or slant in a different direction than you do. These are clues that help tell experts in handwriting analysis figure out who done it. Forensic analysis can involve looking closely at handwritten evidence. Sometimes people will fake someone else's signature on an official document, or they'll leave behind demands on a piece of paper when committing a crime. When experts look at handwriting or signatures, they're checking for those special indicators or clues that can help correctly determine the identity of the suspect. Science, then and now, search dogs. Imagine one of your five senses being so strong that you could use it to help solve crimes. Believe it or not, some dogs are hired for that exact reason. Dogs are famously called man's best friend because they're the best. But their capabilities and the ways they serve people go beyond mere companionship. I'm not being very objective there, but you guys know, as a class, we do enjoy dogs more than cats for sure, but we like them. We like cats too. You may have heard of some police forces having a canine unit, or of search and rescue teams using dogs to find people who have gotten lost or hurt. Believe it or not, dogs are trained to do certain jobs because of their noses. Some dogs have a very developed sense of smell, and given the right training, they can accomplish amazing things in the field. Search dogs must begin their training as puppies at just a couple months old. They must first master obedience, which can be crucial for safety reasons when working in the field. And then they're trained to use their amazing sense of smell to follow scent trails. Some are so good at what they do, they can even detect scents carried in the air. They can be trained to find someone with a given scent to track, such as an object owned by that missing person, and some can even track a person from the place they were last seen. Once they find the missing person, they are trained to lead search and rescue workers to the person's location. Search dogs also help police to track down criminals and find victims of crimes, as well as sniff out evidence at crime scenes. Who knew dogs could make such great detectives? In the spotlight, lie detectors. You may be asking yourself, do lie detectors actually detect lies? Well, the answer is not really. Then, what do they detect? When people are put under stress, your body reacts in different ways. Have you ever told a lie or had to keep a secret? Did your palms get sweaty? Did you feel your heart was beating more quickly? These are stress reactions that happen in the human body. Keeping a secret or lying can cause those stress reactions to occur. A lie detector is an electronic device, also known as a polygraph, that can read small changes in the human body caused by stress. These devices measure changes in your heartbeat, perspiration, also known as sweat, and electronic signals sent to your skin. They can't actually detect lies, but they can help determine if a suspect is being deceptive. Even though polygraphs can't tell us precisely when or if someone's lying, they're used in many different situations to help determine deception, or deceit is like lies and that kind of thing. Police officers and detectives use them when interrogating suspects of serious crimes. Some courts even use the results of these tests to help determine if the suspect is guilty or at least hiding something. Okay, so the mini lab is about identifying mysterious substances. You can do any of the mini labs you would like to. I don't think there's any crossword answers in there, but I might be wrong. You may have to search for that. Oops. To across says to begin legal proceedings against a person. And again, unless I missed it somewhere, I don't think that's in the crossword at all. So that's a bummer, but I'm here for you. So to across, to begin legal proceedings against a person. I believe that the answer is prosecute. And then let's see. Yes, because 3 down starts with a C. So to across is prosecute, and you may have to grab a dictionary, look it up online, prosecute on how to spell, or do like a quick spell check thing. But if you begin legal proceedings against a person, you are prosecuting them. So do your best. You can do it, kids. I sure miss you.